My mermaid persona is Nova Serene, the Virginia mermaid, and I am a freshwater mermaid who advocates for river and lake conservation since freshwater is just as important as saltwater.
I thought that it would be really cool to carry the last name Serene because it was mermaid, the old English style spelling of mermaid, and Eden was what I would have named my daughter if I had one.
Okay. I'm Kaitlyn the mermaid. My human name is Tressie. Kaitlyn is Hawaiian. Kai is sky and Lani is sea. It can be translated as heavenly sea, heavenly ocean, or of sky and sea.
I got into mermaiding through the internet, mostly using Tumblr, the social media website, and YouTube. I was sort of surfing the internet and I found pictures of real life people wearing mermaid tails swimming in the ocean, and then on YouTube I would look up mermaids swimming in the ocean and I would find all these videos of these women and looking like real life mermaids. And so I thought to myself, oh well, this is something I could do. It's not just from the movies, like people do this in real life.
I got into mermaiding by attending the Renaissance Fair during, let's see, this is 2014, so it was actually during 2013 with my son and my husband. I saw the Marabella Studios and I loved it. I thought it was really cool, so I just wanted to give it a shot and see how I could do at it.
I got into mermaiding about 3 years ago. I wanted to do a costume as Ariel, and I made the tail and I started swimming in it, and then I found out through someone else that mermaiding is a hobby in a community, and I just fell in love with it.
There's several things you can do. You can advocate for ocean conservation. A lot of mermaids do that. And you do children's birthday parties where you can be hired at an hourly rate and wear your mermaid tail and play games and read stories and do face paint and give them sort of little tips on how to conserve the ocean so that future generations will keep that in mind and grow up with those values.
I try to educate children about the ocean. I'm also available to swim at parties and events.
You can do many different events that ranges from entertaining children to going into clubs and doing lots of different types of parties, whether they're adults or really ranges. You can even do museum events, you can do Renaissance events.
Some mermaids are hired by aquariums to swim in the big aquariums with all the fish, and that's the way that aquariums get business, and also the mermaids as performers get business that way.
Most of the people I have booked my gigs through have contacted me through my Facebook page, The Fish Hawk Mermaid, and then through my business cards. People call me on my salon / phone number for Eden Serene.
I feel a little more magical and special when I'm in my mermaid persona than when I'm in real life. I have makeup that I do like green on my eyes and face to go along with the ocean themes, and sometimes jewels on my face, and of course I have my tail, and whenever I put on my tail I automatically feel sort of like an actual mermaid, and I have tops and hair accessories all ocean themed that I make myself. This top is a top that I made for Trina Mason, my friend, for her birthday. And it's just a bra, again, with all these, I'm not exactly sure what they are. I think they're stones painted or with sort of iridescent abalone looking colors. And there's a bunch of little stones and they're all glued on with E6000 and layered. And in the middle, I put some like neutral colors to kind of look like skin. And on the straps, the same thing with some pearls. But this is the first top that I've tried to make, and I think it turned out pretty well. It started out as a hobby, and people who do this professionally can make money off of it and have a full-time job being a mermaid performer. But a lot of the times, ideals that you take on in your mermaid persona will transfer to your real life with conservation of water and energy and caring about animals and caring about other people and overall trying to be at harmony with nature and with other people.
It's a lifestyle. It's a community. It's more than just putting on a tail and swimming around. It's more than just, you know, being a fish.
It has to incorporate a lifestyle because you have to take so much of your life. It has to become your hobby because you have to love it to be one. It pretty much becomes your job because when it's a lifestyle and a hobby, you do it so much that if you're doing it that much, you have to be making some kind of money and doing it when you're doing it that much.
I train several times a week in the pool at Madison University. I take the monofin, which is the fin that is inside my tail that comes out. I swim with that, and then I just wear regular Speedo and cap and goggles because, you know, sometimes when you have people at a pool, they might look at you strange if you have a tail on. I practice doing flips, underwater back flips and front flips, and I practice my breath hold underwater to see how long I can hold it, and also working on just your face because your face moves underwater, it changes, and so you have to learn how to kind of control it. It's almost like modeling underwater, and you have to learn how your body works underwater because it's different than in the air. There's several different types of tails actually. Most beginners start out with a fabric tail, which is made out of spandex or some sort of bathing suit material, and underneath the fabric skin they'll have a monofin, which is what Olympic swimmers use to train. It makes your body move in the dolphin kick, which is the mermaid swim. So this is my tail, and as you can see, it's green and cloth. It's not latex or silicone. I have fringe on the end that I said that I made out of vinyl shelf liner that I cut and glued on with E6000. On the back, I also added some fins and some little fringe things to cover up the heels because the heels show. Inside the tail, the bottom opens, and inside is a kind of like plexiglass monofin. You roll down the skin, and then your feet go in these little holes right here, and then your feet are together, and you just sort of swim like this. The second type of tail are made out of latex or neoprene, or a combination of the two. And neoprene is the material that is used in diving suits and wetsuits. You can actually get the three-dimensional scales and custom paint on it. The third degree is full silicone tails. They look the most realistic underwater. They're really the best if you want to be a mermaid as a career, or if you just really like the way they look.
This is my mermaid tail. It is made by the company Nation. It weighs somewhere in the ballpark of 55 pounds of dragon silicone. It just came out of the water. It's blue and turquoise and green and all sorts of wonderful colors. It does have a monofin inside. I don't think this one was built for speed. It's built more for looks underwater. It looks fantastic underwater. So it does definitely, you know, do its job. It's wonderful.
It's a piece of equipment essentially, and so you're investing in that, and so it's worth it, I think, in the end. When I got my first tail, I was so excited. I tore open the box and tried it on right when I got it, and it was just, it was almost like having a puppy, or getting that one thing that you really wanted for Christmas, or something that you've wanted for a really long time. Kind of the shock of it was really amazing, and I can't wait to see my next one.
My first tail was a spandex tail, and I sewed it myself all night. When I finally got how to swim in that tail, it was amazing. It was the best feeling in the world.
I put it on and I really couldn't believe it. I loved it so much. There was nothing like it. It brought me so much joy. It brought everybody else joy. I remember the first time I put it on was actually with the girls from the aquarium. I honestly, for a moment, I couldn't tell the part of reality and dream anymore. It was just like, I am a mermaid. I'm a mermaid.
Some of the restrictions that come from swimming in a tail are that you don't have full mobility of your legs. When normal people swim, they alternate, but when you are in a tail, you have both of your legs stuck together. If you don't know how to swim with something like that, it can be potentially dangerous. And so most people suggest starting off in a shallow area where you can stand up. But once you do it a few times, you get used to it and you get used to the feeling of having your legs together. And one of the things that's really great about mermaid tails is that they have the big monofin in the bottom, and those give a lot of propulsion and power, just like normal diving fins. You can go a lot faster in a mermaid tail than you would swimming normally. Modeling as a mermaid is different than modeling as a human because, like I said earlier, your face is different underwater because it's almost like you're in zero gravity, and so your facial muscles and all the different parts of your face will shift a little bit.
I have worked with several photographers. Some it's very nice because like they'll give you good direction. You know, they'll ask you like, well, can you pose like this? Can you do this? Can you try and get your tail up a little bit? So far, it's always been a positive experience.
I've worked with Steve Anton, who is an established underwater photographer and has had his work published in several different diving magazines. I worked with him when I went to a mermaid convention in North Carolina this past January. I didn't really expect to be shooting with him, but when I met him, he was really nice, and he said, "Oh, I really want to shoot you underwater." And so I put my mermaid tail on, went in the pool, and he had a backdrop that had like an ocean scene on it and some props like bottles and underwater treasure. I would go underwater for as long as I could, and he would snap pictures of me and I would pose. And during the shoot, he would show me the pictures, and so it kind of encouraged me.
I really enjoyed doing the event over at the Museum of Science, which was a nonprofit, the Einstein Food and Wine. I've also done a few events over at the Winthrop Plaza, which was in a fountain, and lots of children came over and saw me. That was really awesome.
My favorite part of mermaiding is definitely swimming. I mean, I know that sounds cliche, but it's a nice feeling being underwater and feeling like this fantasy creature that you've always dreamed about since you were a child. For mermaids, they are known for swimming in the water and looking beautiful in the water and being confident. And so my favorite part of being a mermaid is definitely being in the water and swimming.
I've been able to copy animals since a young age, I think about 2. I heard dolphins and I decided one day I'll try it. And
a lot of people don't even know what mermaiding is, and when they find out, they kind of say, "Ooh, that's sort of weird." But mermaiding is just like any other hobby, any other fantasy dress up, or any other acting job even, because people who do this are performers. They take on a persona just like actors take on a persona, and they spend a lot of time and a lot of money and effort to become this character. Sometimes people in the real world don't appreciate that, and so one thing that I would definitely like people to know is that it's something that people love, and if you don't agree with it, don't be mean to them about it. Just keep it to yourself because they love it. But I know that there's mermaids out there who've dealt with extreme prejudice where they weren't allowed in pools, or they've gotten chased away by pool owners even though it says nowhere that they aren't allowed to be there.
there are some people who they hear me say I'm a mermaid, and they look at me like, is she crazy?
I was practicing to become one of the mermaids, hopefully at the aquarium. While doing so, that happened. I was banned from my Fishhawk neighborhood pools. So there I am in my Fishhawk Ridge pool. So I was told that I was no longer allowed in any of the Fishhawk pools because of wearing a mermaid fin in the pool.
Most people who see the tail are they think it's really cool and really beautiful. How do kids react when they see your tail?
They're totally blown away. They want to know how in the world did that happen. I came up with a pretty good story, and they want to know how they can make that happen for themselves. I only had one girl tell her mom, get on eBay and figure that out, because she figured that. But for the most part, they all believe 100% that it just happened. So
they want to touch your tail, they want to ask you questions, and that magical moment when they see a mermaid and they're just like, it's real.
I went to NC Merfest, which was in Cary, North Carolina in January of this year. So I went by myself, and I was sort of worried about being accepted into the community because everyone sort of knows each other already since it's sort of small. As I walked into the hotel, I saw people dressed in mermaid attire, and I went up to them. I said, "Oh, are you guys with Merfest?" And they just gave me a big hug and said, "Oh yeah, we're going over here." And they just literally just brought me in with open arms, and they were so welcoming and accepting, and I've honestly never felt more welcomed anywhere in my life.
We are a really tight-knit community, and we are more than welcome to let anyone certainly in.
The mermaid community is a very, I'd say, tight-knit community in the sense of we look out for each other. I mean, I have several mermaid friends, and whenever something happens, they're the first ones to be there, and they're just very friendly and loving.
It's a small community of people all around the world. Most of them are in the United States, but there are some in Germany and New Zealand, Singapore, places like that. There is an online website called the Mer Network, which is a forum for people who are interested in mermaiding.
It's grown, but we still remain family.
Being a mermaid is sort of an interesting hobby, an interesting choice.
You have to be very loving, you have to be patient, you have to be just really considerate of others, understanding, because there's so many very different people out there that you're going to be working with.
Mermaids often make their own jewelry and their tops, and if you have a creative mind, then you can become a different persona, and you can make all these things and sort of become a different person.
You have to be very giving, because in the beginning there's so much giving to be seen and to be noticed.
A lot of the times people will laugh or scrutinize and really don't understand, and so it takes someone who's okay with sort of being out there and not being not sort of going with the flow and being in sort of in the pack.
People will really not understand in the beginning what you're doing. Some people will really question what you're doing and kind of make you feel not so hot about it. And you have to be very passive with those people, or else you won't be very sure if you want to continue.
It's just part of my life. It's part of who I am.
You have to be in harmony with animals, because sometimes we'll be working with fish and other marine life, and if you're scared of them and if you feel threatened by them, or if they feel threatened by you, then they won't cooperate.
A good mermaid would definitely have a respect for the life that water gives and the life that lives in water.
It takes a lot of effort, and like I had said before, it really does. It takes so much, and it is such a difficult thing to do, and there's no doubt about it. It has its ups and downs. It's one of the most wonderful things ever to do, and I will never stop.